Coming up on Bears Now by Chat Sports, are things starting to click for Justin Fields and this Bears offense, and can it be sustained for the rest of this season? We'll dive into that and a whole lot more. My name is Harrison Graham. First, let's dive into the Thursday injury report, as 6 players did not practice. We'll take a look at the players who did in at least some capacity. Roschon Johnson still in the concussion protocol. He did not go. I do not expect him to play this week. Khalil Herbert did not practice. He's going to be out as well. Neither did Travis Homer. Homer was the one guy I was thinking, okay, maybe he gets ready to go for Sunday, but not looking likely. We'll see what Friday looks like for those 3. Quanimeous St. Brown also did not practice with a hamstring. Does that mean more Tyler Scott, more Velus Jones if he doesn't play? Marcedes Lewis always gets a rest day on Thursday, and then Lucas Patrick, like Roschon Johnson, in the concussion protocol also. The limited and full participants, couple of fulls. Doug Kramer, who's still on IR, that's why he has an asterisk, as is Kyler Gordon. He was limited again, so we'll see on him. Jaylon Johnson, full participant. We'll talk more about him in a second. So is Terrell Smith. That's a good sign. Both those corners should be available. Eddie Jackson, Kyler Gordon, Cole Kmet, all limited. I'm not concerned about Kmet. I think he'll be good to play. We'll see when it comes to Eddie and Kyler Gordon. Jaylon Johnson is back, though. That is a really, really good sign. He's missed the last couple of games with a hamstring injury. He's your best corner. PFF had him graded out at over 80 through his first few games. He was really the one good defensive player in the earlier games where nothing was going right on that side of the ball. So it's good to see him back out there. And the 2 ones to watch for me are Eddie Jackson, who's been limited with the foot the last couple of days after not practicing for multiple weeks. And then Kyler Gordon, who's eligible to return from injured reserve but has not yet. He was also limited. With Jaylon Johnson back and Terrell Smith playing pretty well, do you keep Gordon out for a week? Not sure who plays nickel in that scenario. Maybe you stick with Greg Stroman for one more week. We'll have to wait and see, but those are the 2 names, in my opinion, to keep a close eye on over the next 24 to 48 hours. Predict the score, Bears, Vikings. You want as many players available for this one because this is a massive game. You got to beat Minnesota at home, especially with Justin Jefferson out. And speaking of injuries, Jordan Addison limited with an ankle injury today. If for some reason he does not play, there's no excuse. You got to find a way to win this one. Bears, Vikings, predict the score. Let us know who's going to win and what the final score will be. Are the Chicago Bears in on Justin Fields long term? Well, I think that's still a question that they're going to have to wait to answer between now and the end of the season. But a report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler is that the Bears believe that Fields has seen the field better than it maybe ever. Here was that direct quote. The Bears believe quarterback Justin Fields has seen the field maybe better than he ever has over the past 2 games. And they believe when Fields' footwork is clean, that guides his eyes and good things happen in the pocket. And look, any quarterback expert will tell you this. Quarterback play starts first with your mind, then with your feet, your footwork. You got to have clean drops. You got to know when to hitch more than once. Like, the footwork is so critical to getting your base where it needs to be so you can drive the football downfield. Then you get to your arm. Like, yeah, we always talk about arm strength. And yeah, those things are important, arm strength, accuracy. But how are you accurate? Good footwork. How do you know to go where to go with the football? Your mind, pre-snap stuff, how you process as the play starts. And the first few weeks, Justin Fields did not seem to be seeing the field very well. Even worse than at times last year, which that's why we were so alarmed. We were like, if anything, he looks like he's taken a step back. But the last 2 weeks, this is kind of what we thought it would be. Maybe not this extreme, 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks, but accuracy much higher. Willingness to throw the football downfield. He's holding safeties on some plays so he can fire the ball with cover 2 beaters. Like, this is how it's supposed to look and how we want to see him progress. Now, can that continue? We'll see, right? Like, I'm optimistic. There's no doubt he's been a different quarterback these last 2 weeks, though. Like, not just with the stats either. The stats are reflective of all that other stuff. Processing, better footwork, quicker drops, better decisions, quicker decisions. Confidence. Like, we've seen all that the last 2 weeks. We saw hardly any of that in the first 3 weeks. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I'll put it this way. I'd rather it be this way than him balling out the first 2 weeks and looking bad the last 3 weeks. You'd rather be trending up rather than trending down. Hopefully that trend can continue to point upward. More to discuss here in just a moment, but shout out to Factor Meals, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Can help you fuel up in a quick, healthy manner because, let's be honest. During football season, sometimes it's hard to take time to cook long, extensive meals. You got to prepare. You got to grocery shop. You got to get all the spices, the proteins. You got to fire up the grill or the stove, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it takes multiple hours to get a meal ready. Not with Factor. They're going to deliver prepared meals straight to your doorstep, and it only takes you a couple of minutes to get it ready for you to eat. Some of their meals are microwavable. Some of them are not. They're like grain bowls and protein shakes, and it takes like a minute to get ready to eat. Very convenient, if you ask me. And let's be honest, if you're in my situation too, and you got a baby at home, you feel like, oh yeah, let's cook tonight, and then your baby's fussy, and you're like, I can't cook right now because I have to deal with the baby. That's where Factor comes in. Oh, I'll just get a Factor meal ready to go real quick. Rolly and I, big fans of Factor. You should be as well. So here's what you do. Go to factormeals.com/BearsChat50. Use code BearsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code BearsChat50 at factormeals.com/BearsChat50. Go check out all their different meals and pick which ones you want delivered straight to your doorstep. That way you are covered off for the week. Okay, Luke Getsy spoke to reporters like he does every Thursday and was basically asked, what is the evolution for Justin Fields? What have we seen the past couple of weeks? And he kept it simple. He said, look, I just think it's natural growth. And credit to him, for keeping it level-headed, right? Like, I think it's easy for us to overreact. Like, oh, my God, he's been this different quarterback. And I think what we keep hearing out of Hal Saul is, like, incremental growth, incremental growth, incremental growth. If you do that over a period of time, then it's going to look really, really good long-term. You get back to Jeremy Fowler here as it ties into Luke Getsy in the offense. I think this is a good point. Fields also said after Thursday night's win over Washington that he reminds Luke Getsy to get DJ Moore the ball as much as possible. You think? After 15 targets for Moore through the first 3 weeks, he has 19 over the past 2 weeks, with Fields' play exploding during that span. And I threw this stat graphic up here, I think on Wednesday's show, one of Wednesday's show, and it truly is unbelievable. When Justin Fields targets DJ Moore, he's 27-34, 531 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, perfect passer rating of 158.3. Is that going to continue to that level of efficiency? Probably not. But the DJ Moore fella, he can play. He's pretty good at football. Get him the ball first and foremost. That's what was so brutal early in the season. Not only were you not playing to your quarterback's strengths, you weren't really making a point to get DJ Moore the football a lot. And that's why I said after that game, you got to target him 10-plus times, which 19 the past 2 weeks. I'd still like to see it a little more sometimes, but it's been a lot better, and the results have been fantastic between those two. There's no doubt about it. And I want to add this as well. We got to give the offensive line credit. They've battled through injuries. Guys have been shuffling in and out. Guys like Larry Borum are having to step up and do some good things. Lucas Patrick's getting hurt. Cody Whitehair sliding over. Nate Davis has been in and out. He's back playing well. Tevin Jenkins is back. He played well the other night. Against that Washington defensive line, which is not an easy task, they held up pretty well. So, listen, you give the quarterback more time. You have a guy like DJ Moore. You have a quarterback getting confident all of a sudden. It looks a lot better. And I do think Luke Getsy's done a good job of playing not only to field strengths, but this team strengths, which is get DJ Moore the football, throw the ball downfield. I think that's a very, very smart thing to do. Now, be honest with me, Bears fans. What is your confidence level in Justin Fields at this exact moment, right now? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident at all. The last 2 weeks were a fluke. 10 being this guy is heading to an all-pro level. I'm at like a 7 right now. I feel good. I feel confident. It's 2 games against not great defenses, but you can only play who you play, right? And it's looked a lot better. I think it can continue against Minnesota, but the weather's going to be a little dicey. Maybe the numbers tick down a bit, but I am confident in how he's playing. Yes, Chase Claypool. Let's talk Chase Claypool, and then hopefully we never have to talk about him again. Claypool spoke out after his first practice with the Miami Dolphins. He was asked what went wrong in Chicago, and here's what he had to say. And I do understand a little bit, but I'll explain why it's not a good enough excuse. He says, I think when you lose a lot of games in a row, there's frustration naturally. I think that's new for everybody, I'm sure from the top down. So I think just being excited about getting wins and stuff like that, of course, talking about playing with Miami now, who has been winning a lot of games. I do think it's funny that the first real game that Claypool was out of the picture, they dominated their opponent. Now, I'm not going to be the guy who comes on here and says, you get Claypool out, the whole thing is fixed. Offense, defense, special teams, like all the problems go away. But I do think there's something to be said for bad apples in a locker room, and I just don't think he was a good fit. I just don't. And he's not the only player who had to deal with that losing. Everybody else was a pro, at least from what we can tell. Everybody else was a professional. And it'd be one thing if you did something to help prevent the losing. In 10 games, you had less than 200 yards. Like, you just didn't play well, man. Just own it. Like, I would have so much more respect for him if he said what he said with the losing and then said, and I didn't handle it well personally. But he didn't add that last part because Chase Claypool doesn't take ownership. I think that much has been very clear, and there's a reason he's been traded twice in less than 12 months. Describe the Claypool experience in one word. Disastrous, horrific, thank God it's over, all one word. Let me know. It was ugly, man. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. All right, that's going to do it for our Bears news and rumors roundup. Lots of injuries, but I think some guys trending in the right direction like Jaylon Johnson. Be sure to subscribe for more updates as we lead up to kickoff against the Vikings on Sunday.